All right, welcome to the Stampscapes lab. We're going to try I guess it's a reflection card, kind of. It's more of a horizon card. A reflection card's where I put something reflective down here, which this Seaside Cove, small, stamped on a piece of silver cardstock is. It's reflective, okay, but it has this patterning of it on it, of the Seaside Cove, okay? But this area here is going to represent kind of the sand or something like that. You know, the tides receded, and you have this sand area right in here, and that's going to have some baby sea turtles going out to sea, and then a moon, a full moon, that's just going to be adhered right in here. I want to put some like an island or, you know, a piece of land here with the palm trees on it. But this has been pre-treated. I have stamped out my moon, and I have used some of the FolkArt glow-in-the-dark paint over the top of it, okay, to make it more, well, glow-in-the-dark. All right, so this paper down here, okay, now I thought about using white, but this is more of a pearl paper. Let me change my camera exposure here a little bit. It's a little bit too much. I don't know. Hopefully you can see this is like a kind of a shimmery texture right here. It's called pearl because it has this pearl type of texturing on it. So you can see it's more shimmery. You can contrast it against this just matte, you know, piece of copy paper here. Okay, so this is supposed to be reflected down in here in the water, which you can see it is. Okay, I have to go pretty low. If I have this up here, you won't be able to see very much of the moon. It's down there in that lower area. It's very kind of obscured, so I'm going to have to go fairly low with it, like around right here maybe, or maybe I'll put it a little bit off center. Okay, so let's see. I've adhered this piece of printable vinyl holographic sticker paper. It's called Starry. In this upper section, this is just a 4.5 by, or 4.25 by 5.5 inch card base, and I did it in black, or I used black. And okay, now this is a printable vinyl sticker paper, and then this pearl paper right here is a pearl photo paper, so it's just meant to be able to go through your inkjet printer at home and print your dye-based ink on it. So it says, use dye pigment ink, which means, you know, your inkjet printer ink, you know, so it's designed to accept basically water-based media. Okay, you can use other types of inks up here, though. I've used Brilliance before, but I thought, okay, let's just go with a dye-based ink and make it simple, because most of us have, you know, some kind of black dye-based ink that they've, you know, in their, you know, their supply lists, like the basic color. Okay, now I've already adhered all this down here. I've taken this and I've cut it out and I've adhered it, but I probably should have done that separately, and should have made my impressions first, because I'm going to try to stamp this right down here. So there's going to be a little bit of a separation between this raised piece of silver foil and this impression right here. But this is, you know, I'm doing this as a kind of a experiment here to see if this is even going to work on here. I want this glowing in the dark, so I'm not really making this card to look good in standard lighting. It's all about kind of, I don't know, the dynamics of a glow-in-the-dark surface. Here, I'm just seeing if this, my black ink is wet enough here. Let me get a little bit more ink on my pad here. Okay, let's go a little bit off center with this one over here, and okay. I kind of just hope I didn't smear a bunch, but I'm just trying to line that up, butt it up right against the base of this right here. So I don't know, I kind of touched down a little bit and then, you know, scooted down a little bit. I had it at an angle, so I don't think I blurred things too bad if I did. Like you see, this is like really sticking on here because it's ink that's really designed to dry really fast on that type of surface. Okay, let me get my bearings here. Okay, so I'm going to be using about this much right here of the stamp. So I'm going to ink up a little bit more than I think I need, though. Okay. And maybe I should stamp and lift a little bit faster. Okay. And I'm just using the same stamp here. Okay, let me see. Okay, let's go like that, and then let's lift. Just so it's not sticking as much. Okay, and I didn't get a super dark impression right there. I could have used my Brilliance ink, but I just know some people don't have that. I don't know, maybe I should have. A lot of people don't have the printable, you know, sticker paper either, but anyway. Okay, so that is like that. And I think just to get a little bit more texturing in the sky, I think I'm going to splatter paint it with some additional stars. They're nice and white, and I think they'll look pretty good against this already textural night sky, but see how uniform in pattern that is? Okay. I want a little bit of variation in there too. Now you wouldn't have stars, you know, in a, you know, a full moon night, but who cares? You're not gonna have a vinyl holographic either, right? Or, you know, silver cardstock ocean. So we're not really going for realism. We're just trying to go for, I don't know, dynamics here. Okay, let's see what we can get here. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. I'm going pretty heavy-handed here with my splatter, okay? I don't know if you can see, like, see, I'll tilt it right there. You can see where I've splattered. I kind of went with this kind of Milky Way angle right here. If you splatter just right across here, it looks like a night sky, but sometimes if you go with a little bit of an angle like that, so I sprayed like this, you know, going across that way. And hopefully it looks, I don't know, it gives the scene a little bit of kind of dynamics. Okay, I'm going to use this one more time right around this wave area down here. Okay, now one of the things about this type of construction right here is this is so vastly different of a surface from this one over here. Usually I've used like, I think a white piece of paper or something like that. And I've tried to pair these two very, very different surfaces together from a visual standpoint. Can't really do it, but you can kind of bring them as close as you can. So you can see how dark this is. So I'm going to try to make this darker. Now this might be really tricky because you know, this paper right here is designed to dry water-based media very quickly. Look how dimensional those impressions look up there. So I'm going to use a cotton ball. A lot of times I use a paper towel, but I'll try to use a cotton ball here, and I'll see if I can get a reasonably decent application of this ink. If I can't get it, you know, I might try a thicker ink in the Brilliance water-based ink. Okay, before I do that though too, I just remembered, I'm going to try to get some texturing down here too. And this is all before I stamp my eventual kind of whatever focal point of the scene in the, you know, the baby sea turtles going out to sea. Okay. So this is, again, it's tiny rocks, and we're using our dye-based inks here. I'm trying to take care of a lot of the shading right here, just with this patterning and repetition of pattern. So I want it generally a little bit darker around there. So this is why maybe I should have glued this down after I got all my tones in there, because I could have had all this, but now I have this pretty thick, you know, piece of silver paper raised above this, so I can't get right next to it because they're at different levels. But we'll do what we can here. Okay, so I want it darker on the perimeter too, to give it a little bit of a vignette. I want some of this in here a little bit, you know, to some degree. But I'm going to stamp the sea turtles in there, so I don't want to have too much texture in here because we want to be, you know, the sea turtles to be, you know, readable as sea turtles and not just, you know, totally hidden amongst, you know, tons and tons of pattern or texture, rather. This feels really sticky to stamp on because I'm hitting the emulsion that's over the top of this pearl paper. And it kind of grabs the ink. You know, it's designed to dry things pretty fast. By the way, it's kind of cool that there's like all these different types of papers out there these days. You know, you don't have to print something just on, you know, standard white copy paper. There's all these printable vinyls. I don't know if this, I guess this is a photo paper, so I guess it's kind of vinyl-ish, you know. All right, that gave me a good head start there, though. I don't think I need to go in and tone it quite as much now, which is, you know, ideal. Okay, let me see about this. I'm not sure if this cotton ball looks so light, I'm not sure if this is even going to be applying anything. Yeah, it's applying something. It's just not very coated right here, so I need to be careful on this pad that I don't kind of depress that material. This pad's so old, and they're not really selling these pads anymore. The Marvy pads. And this pad's probably like 20, 30 years old. I guess cotton ball's working pretty good right here. You see it giving it that little tone. This is kind of a slower. Let me try wiping it on like this. It works pretty good too. Okay, I was just seeing if the imagery is fixed down to the surface, and it is. And I think this cotton ball is working really good. Oh, by the way, the Seaside Cove stamped on the silver is with StazOn ink. You know, dye-based inks aren't going to dry on top of this, but the StazOn, you know, it dries like instantly. Well, I don't know, instantly, but, you know, it doesn't take more than probably a minute, you know, to dry. In fact, if you hold it down and stamp it long enough, you know, you try to lift it off and it's, you know, the ink is dried in between the stamp and the surface, and it's almost kind of hard to remove. Because they're like stuck together. Okay, this cotton ball's working fantastic here. I didn't know if I'd get like a smooth application of tone, or if it would just be drying like way too fast. Here, I just put a pretty big blob of ink there because I'm not worried about it anymore. It's just going on really fantastic on this this paper. I don't know if it's going to be the same for like a white paper, but maybe the pearl has a metallic in it, so it's a little bit more, you know, it's less porous maybe than just a piece of white photo paper. That's what I'm guessing, because I've done this on like white and it's like, you know, I'm not getting any kind of blend at all, but with this metallic or mica that's in here, it's working pretty good. I don't know about shockingly good, but it is really surprising me. It's also, I'm able to kind of fill in that little gap. There's a little bit of a line there, you know, but it's not too bad. You know, in between the paper and you know, the silver foil. Okay, now I have that moon that's going to be going up here, so I really want that lighting to be kind of like in this area. So let me see, let me close this right side a little bit more by bringing in, you know, the, I don't know, whatever the shading, darkness, framing a little bit more on this side. I think the two areas are matching up pretty decently. I mean, this looks like a shimmer, you know, silvery looking surface now, or more so than it did before at least. Maybe that was a little bit too heavy-handed right there on that one. So I'm gonna try to build up a little bit more and match that kind of heavy application of black right there in the corner. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. If you're gonna go like heavy and it like really stands out, then you just kind of do it in a couple other areas where it looks more purposeful. Okay, maybe I should stamp the turtles now so I can kind of see where they're going to go and work around them. If I can find them, here we go. Okay, now this is a printable vinyl sticker paper, and this is kind of like a printable, I don't know, film or something like that. So they're not exactly the same. So, you know, and this is a different type of paper too. I think there's like 3 different type of papers right here completely. They're all kind of metallics, but they all have a little bit of a different property to them. So don't expect, you know, the application to feel the same, okay? It's not like they're so vastly different. I don't know, maybe the StazOn is a little bit different because it does dry really fast, but just, you know, kind of experiment around. So like what I did is I have a piece of this pearl paper that I just did a test print on before I, you know, stamped this. I wanted to see if it was going to work or not, you know, my dye-based ink. So anytime you get in these new types of surfaces, you know, kind of play around with it and see, see how they're going to work for you. You know, because they all might be a little bit different. Okay, now this one, I think it's best if I stamp and hold for a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if I need to or not. You know, those rock pebble stamps, I mean, it just was like instant. But this is the main feature though, and I was going for kind of different values in those tiny rocks. So I don't know. Let's stamp and hold a little bit longer. That, okay. And let's go one more right down here, I think. Hate seeing those baby sea turtles attacked by all those seagulls and crabs and everyone eating them, you know, on their way down to the, you know, the water. Anytime I see those documentaries. All right, so we got those baby sea turtles moving across like that. Now, let's see. I want to go for some cover. Let's give those sea turtles a little bit more of a chance. So they're coming out of the, you know, dunes or something like that, where there's a little bit of foliage cover. And this is just going to give us a little bit more, I don't know, whatever, depth of field, foreground. Texturing too. It's like beach grass. It's just reeds, you know, but beach grass is usually thicker, but if I put a real thick thing here, you wouldn't be able to see the sea turtles through the grass, so. All right, see that right there? Isn't that cute? All right. Card's looking pretty cool, as is. I hope I don't ruin it here. I'm just joking, but I do want to bring in some glow-in-the-darks right in here, okay? I think. I don't know, it's looking pretty cool like that, as is, but I don't know, there's a purpose to this. Okay, now let's see. Let's bring in... see, this is what I wanted to use. I wanted to use some of the Ceya glow-in-the-dark powder. It's a super fine powder, and I put it on here. It's really going to stand out, but I don't know. I think the scene's looking pretty decent as is. In the name of, I don't know, whatever, growth, though, I guess let's give it a shot. Okay, now this is that moon. I'm going to use a craft glue on it. I could use my tape runner probably, but I think it's better if I glue this down completely. Okay, now this one right here, these moons right here, I printed on a printable vinyl, I think it was. So it worked better than paper for me, like a cardstock. Okay, let's put that moon roughly about like right here. Now I do have this glow-in-the-dark paint right here, and there's an argument to be said for, hey, you know, why didn't you use, that would have been better to splatter paint up here in glow-in-the-dark. But this stuff right here, it's pretty good. Like if I charged this bottle up with light and I just turned off these lights, this bottle is really glowing and strong. But when you put like a thin layer of something like a speck like that, unless you're showcasing this in a black light, it's really not going to show up because you have to kind of give a little bit of a thicker layering. But look at this right here. Isn't that kind of cool? So this is a horizon card like that. And you see that moon down there, like about like so. All right, so let's add in, I don't know, let's see how this goes here. I'm going to try to add some of this glow-in-the-dark paint. It's a glow-in-the-dark acrylic paint. All right. And like I said, it's pretty decent. It's not super light capturing and illuminated when you do it, unless you're doing those thicker coats, which I'm not going to do on this piece, I don't think. But let's see how it goes. And I don't know how I'm going to show how this looks on camera here, because my camera just doesn't compensate for it very well, you know, shooting in low light. So you might have to check it out on like Facebook or another post, but I'll see what I can do here, and you know, to give you some kind of gist of, you know, how this piece is working, you know, in terms of you know, having the lights turned off. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I am going to use now this powder right here. I am going to use it on this acrylic paint instead of glue. Okay, I take it, you know, normally you lay down a slathering of glue or something like that and then lay it down, but I think acrylic paint will work just fine for that purpose. You know, in terms of adhering, grabbing in it and adhering the glow in the dark down on this, but we'll see. All right, so I'm going to try to just, I know you can't see that image right in here, but do you see these waves right there? Here we go. In the foreground. There we go, right there. See that wave right there? And then there's another. I'm going to try to get some of this ink or paint right on there. Okay. And I don't want to do it too, well, I don't know, like too thick. Yeah, this paintbrush is working pretty good. It's kind of a flat, semi-flat. It's not completely flat, but this is working out pretty good. I thought it would look real clumsy, you know. It's definitely not, you know, super you know, going on with like a super amount of grace or anything like that by any means. But it's not too bad, I don't think. Okay, so see, it's kind of like that, or it is like that. And while that's a little bit wet, I'm going to take and I'm going to sprinkle some of this glow-in-the-dark powder on there. I don't know, maybe it's not on there like enough paint. I put a really thin layer, as being very conservative about it, but let's see here. I guess I don't need to wait too long, you know, to see if it's going to adhere. I think it looks on there like that. Pretty decent. Okay, so see those waves in there? It's not too bad, I think. Like that. I don't want to put too much up here because, again, it's going to make that opaque and less reflective, and we have the moon reflecting in that area, so I just have these very thin layers right in there. And I'll do a little bit of highlighting on top of there too. I don't know if you can see those little stars up there against those, the white stars, splatter painting stars up there. Okay, now see this area right down in here? These waves right here are splashing waves against those rocks. We're going to go back to our Dr. Martens and I'll see if I can target some splashing kind of specks in this area right here. Having a little bit of that splash up here and down here on this paper too will be kind of like a common texture, shared texture between those two areas. So hopefully it kind of visually unifies them a little bit more. I'm not saying that it unifies them 100%, but we're giving those two things something in common. So the more you do it, you know, just the stronger relationship you're creating between the two. So even if it's not like a, you know, a complete merger of the two areas, it's just, you know, we're trying to make it closer than what it is, that, you know, without it, you know, without this texturing. So I'm going pretty close right here because it's a real targeted area. Sometimes you can't tell which way things are going to splatter when you're doing this. I'm going to go against the front of this a little bit too, maybe, I don't know. Okay, so I think I went way overboard on one side right over here. If you put too much on the foil, you can always just wipe it right off and it'll come right off. Even after it kind of dries, you can get it off, you know, by just kind of buffing it a little bit. But see that there's some kind of like wave splashes right down there. You can see it kind of went over in here a little bit, and then you get some over here. I didn't really splash it down here too much. All right, so let's see. I'm going to pause. I'm going to go clean up this brush right here because you got to really wash out acrylic paint, you know, before it dries on your brushes. Otherwise, it'll just, you know, get completely dried out and stiff, and you'll never be able to get it out after that. Okay. So we have this going right here. Now I have my acrylic paint pen, so I'm going to do some kind of spot highlighting, I guess we can call it. And this will be representative of, you know, the moon illuminating some areas right in here. You know, this isn't going to glow, but we can hopefully create a little bit of a kind of a surface shimmer on our Seaside Cove a little bit. So what this will serve is, like, say if just so someone's looking at the card in daylight, you know, we'll have the benefit of a little bit of a, you know, highlighting and, I don't know, kind of a textural richness. I don't know on this seaside cove in here. So I'm going right over some of this powder. It doesn't seem to be affecting the pen application too much. I don't know, maybe I spoke too soon. Some of that powder can go up into your tip and start to clog it a little bit, so just do a little scribble and try to get that flowing again. Let me see, I need something a little bit darker. Let me see. I just tossed out, I found my old test piece right here. Looks like I need to shake it up a little bit more for opacity. Not too bad. Okay, I'm going to put some highlights in my, a couple areas on my little island right in here too. And then we'll put some of these highlights down here. We'll give this little area down here a lot of shimmer. It's kind of, you know, white little highlights amongst a, you know, a reflective, shimmery pearl surface, but it is a little bit, you know, lighter than the silvery look of the, you know, the paper as it exists. So it's just adding another layer, and it's giving something in relation to this area up here too, you know, the white, you know, dot basically. So you have white dots up here. In this area, there's like stars. We have a little bit of highlights, but not much. Some of those dots in here and here. So you have like this needle and thread. It's this common texture going through each, you know, completely different looking surfaces to hopefully give this a slightly more unified look. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's like completely unified. It's, you know, it's, these surfaces are very, very different from one another, but hopefully they're kind of, you know, they have a little bit of a, I don't know, kind of a visual harmony amongst them, you know, the three of them. I don't know if I can put some highlights on this moon too. Oh yeah, you can. I kind of spray sealed the moon, you know, with all that glow-in-the-dark powder on it. Now, I don't know if this is going to glow in the dark at all down here. It might not, but we'll give it a shot. I have a feeling that I just didn't apply enough of it. It would kind of require kind of a big slathering, you know, so I don't think I wanted to do that. But look at that moon and that water. It's reflecting pretty good. Look at the moon right here at this angle, showing it. It's a lot starker up here, but then it's like warmer down there, you know, for some reason. I don't know, just the way the light's hitting it. All right, so that's the piece right there. You can do some kind of quote stamp right here. I really like that one about the beginning of each kind of adventure begins with one step, and you can have these baby sea turtles right here. I really like the color like that right there. It's like real purplish like that, you know, without the light hitting it too strong. And you can like that. But these are really fun constructions, you know. It's like opening up this kind of this, I don't know, magic box or something like that. And it's just a flat card, basically, you know? But look how much dimension there is like that when someone takes a look at the card like that, that you'd give it, you know? Can you imagine opening a card like that? You know, it's fun for me, and I just, you know, made it. Okay, so I'm going to try to charge this up, and we'll see what this looks like. I'm going to try to flip off my lights right here, and let's see if we can get some kind of semblance of what this might look like in a glow-in-the-dark setting. Okay, I've turned off my studio lights, and I just have this one swing arm lamp, but I need to walk around the lamp to let me charge it up with a little bit of light here. I need to walk around this table, so to go flip it off here. Okay, let's see. How's that looking here? Hey, look at that Ceya glow in the dark down there. It's working pretty good. Now I'm getting a little bit of light here from my computer screen, but it's not too bad. Now my camera is compensating a little bit for it, but that little bit of glow in the dark's not too bad. Now I don't see any of the glow in the dark up in this area right here too much, but right down here in this lower section where I applied more of it, you see a little bit of, so you see this little bioluminescence right down in there, which isn't too bad. But you can see my head. Let me get out of the way here. Or is that me? I think it is. So anyway, that's pretty cool. My camera's really struggling because of the low light here. Let's see, you open it up like this, and then you get that. And then you see those waves right in there, that bioluminescent wave. I think I might have used two colors up here, the blue Ceya powder and then the green one. Oh, you can see my other glow-in-the-dark pieces right out here too that I had done. This one's more of the green. So I use different color powders on these pieces. But look at that glow down there in that water though. It's like a really bluish tinge over here and green over here. So that really shows up pretty well here. I keep getting my face in the... it's hard not to get my face in this mirrored surface right here. Okay, look at this. So you can barely... Yeah, so there's no... You can't really see the holographics up there. In this piece because there's no light reflecting off of it, so you get that glow in the dark in there. All right, let's set some lights back on in here. And then here you got the you know, the card in just regular lighting. I was hoping that the card would look decent in regular lighting too. I thought it might look real goopy down here with all that powder and everything down in this area. And it looks a little bit weird. I mean, if you look at it just like that, okay? But this is a reflection card, you know, where you're supposed to kind of view it at an angle. You know, people are going to view it like this, and they're not going to view it like this, you know, or you can't see anything, or, you know, they don't think they view it like this. You know, you view it like this right here, you know, just at some angle, like, you know what I mean, roughly around in there. And when they open it up, it's like this. Now they'll know when you put your quote on it this way, that, you know, I think someone's going to open it up this way as opposed to like, you know, quotes on here at an angle like that. Then I got to view it like this and think, what the heck? And oh, we were supposed to go like that, you know. So anyway, go into the light, you know. The baby sea turtles down there. We just watched Poltergeist too. All right, folks. Stampscapes Lab. A lot of fun. What are we at here? We're at the 30. We're not even at the 40-minute mark here. So there wasn't a lot of technique. The most things that I did down here was tone this area down here on the paper, you know. But the rest of it, it was almost like just making the impressions and then kind of the construction of the project. Okay. But really not too bad for, you know, I think a pretty dynamic card and a pretty good usage of, you know, that moon up there. It's a really good big light source for you know, horizon / reflection card like that. So I don't know, it's really fun. I think, you know, some version of doing this type of thing I think is cool for anyone, like a stamper, would love it too. But like if you're doing stuff for kids, that's really fun. Hey, if you're doing stuff for kids too, you can do a moon like this and do those little sticker stars up here or something like that. Or you can put the sticker stars on the outside with a little bit of quote, happy birthday, you know, whoever. Put a bunch of those little glow-in-the-dark stars like that, and then you have this glow-in-the-dark piece like this. I think that would be really fun for a kid. You know, they can keep it next to their bed at nighttime and, you know, charge it up with light with a flashlight, and they turn off the lights and they have this little glowing card next to it, and I think it'd be pretty fun. So, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks as always for tuning into the Stampscapes channel.